Welcome to Mr. Biz Radio, biz talk for biz owners. If you're ready to stop faking the funk and take your business onward and upward, this show is for you. And now, here's Mr. Biz, Ken Wentworth.
All right, welcome to another episode of Mr. Biz Radio with me, Mr. Biz, Ken Wentworth. And this week we're going to talk about something we actually, I got to say, we talked about this, we've covered this subject, but it's been many years ago. So for those of you who listen or watch the show, you know, we've been doing the show for almost 9 years now. Actually, we're coming up on 9 here in just a few weeks, actually.
Yeah.
And I know when we first started the show, I should have asked producer Alan before we got started. We had a few people on that we would talk about LinkedIn. LinkedIn was a hot thing. And then it seems like it kind of died off a little bit, and now it's back. LinkedIn is back. So we've got an absolute expert with us this week. Today's guest is Al Kushner. He's the founder of LinkedVantage.com and a force behind high ROI LinkedIn growth for B2B companies. Al and his team help owners turn profiles into pipelines by optimizing positioning, content, and outbound that actually converts. If you've ever wondered how to make LinkedIn deliver qualified meetings, not vanity metrics, you're about to get the playbook. Al, welcome to Mr. Biz Radio.
Thank you, Ken. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So like I said, we talked about LinkedIn. This has been, again, gosh, I don't know if you're anything like me, Al. Like every time I think of something, I'm like, oh, that was probably about 3 years ago. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. It was before COVID. COVID was 5 years ago. So was it like 6, 7, 8 years ago?
Yeah, probably.
Time flies when you're having fun, as they say.
Yes, it is. And but I'm glad to be here in the present. And yeah, looking forward to talking about LinkedIn and some of the things that are happening lately.
Yeah. Well, before we dive into LinkedIn now, tell us a little bit about your entrepreneur journey, if you would.
Well, I've been, I guess, on the platform, at least over 20 years, since its inception. And I was really, looking at different types of social medias to be part of. And I said, LinkedIn was the place to be because it's all about B2B and B2C. And it's people are usually conduct themselves professionally on the platform for the most part. And it was just something that I needed to address. And I just became, quite good at it over the years and learning of how the algorithm has changed. And now with AI technology coming about, it's really been a game changer for a lot of people using the platform. So yeah, happy to share some of my insights.
So as I understand it, so you got into being an insurance broker. Is that what got you kind of on LinkedIn? And how did you make that decision and kind of go about that?
Well, I needed to, expand beyond my boundaries, you might say. And, with the internet, it had given me an opportunity to create a much broader reach. And I needed to become a thought leader on the platform, which is what I created the book to, basically showcase some of the knowledge that I learned over my years and allow people some things that could help them really save a lot of time and heartache on using LinkedIn. So yeah.
So did you use initially when you became an insurance broker and kind of got into that business, you said you kind of made that decision like, hey, I'm looking at social media. What's the best one to go with? And as you mentioned, with it being primarily B2B or B2C, probably a good one for an insurance broker. Is that kind of what drove your decision though to get on LinkedIn, or was it even before that?
That was definitely a decision because I needed to connect with some of the people who are my clientele, which are accountants, attorneys, financial planners, insurance brokers as well. So for me, this was a great platform to reach and have a genuine connection, whereby it was, a professional platform. So it was really much of a no-brainer at the time.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I had my whole corporate career for 20 plus years. I wasn't even on LinkedIn because my network was I worked at JP Morgan. So my network was 260,000 employees. And that's all I kind of knew during my entire professional career was that. And I was career guy, I was company guy. So I was like, I didn't even bother getting on LinkedIn. Well, then when I decided I was going to take the entrepreneur leap and leave there, I'm like, holy crap, I better get on LinkedIn and like establish a presence here. Because again, I knew a little bit about it. Of course, I'd heard about it, but this was, I don't know, 10 years ago. But I had not dabbled in it. I hadn't done anything with it. So same thing, I started doing some research and I would agree. So we're on a bunch of different social media platforms now, but LinkedIn is, at least in my estimation, by far the most professional one. I mean, you get too many keyboard warriors, as I call them, elsewhere. And it's definitely the most professional one that I've come across.
Yeah, it's really grown tremendously. I mean, now I think it's close to 1 billion users, I believe, compared to when it started. So it's really impressive how it has grown. And ever since Microsoft took it over, it's really made a difference in terms of how, professionals can communicate with each other. It's really a great resource for a lot of people to learn about, whether they're looking for a job or looking to make professional connections. It's definitely the place to be.
Hmm. So what kind of drove you out of to launch Linked Advantage?
Well, I was working with a lot of clients, and they were turning to me about the same type of pain points they were experiencing, and getting their profile optimized, how to work on outreach. And I decided to create LinkVantage to help facilitate that process. And I have some courses that I've created that helps to, facilitate whether it's optimizing a profile, how to connect with people, and things not to do. And that really has made a difference in a lot of my clients in terms of their outreach and their success. They thank me for it, so I'm grateful.
Yeah, so I hear, and it makes perfect sense, right? They always say the first impression is so important, right? So I think in LinkedIn, your profile obviously is it's very, very important. What are some things that you use at Linked Advantage to turn, I'll say, a dusty LinkedIn profile into something that's a little bit more of a predictable pipeline?
Well, some of the basics we look at is, updating their headshot, for example. That's important. You want something professional. You also want to have the background image also professional and connotating, what services you're trying to share with others. Because again, you don't get a second chance for first impression. And that's usually what people first see on there. And people kind of take LinkedIn lightly for the most part. And they don't realize that if they're applying for a job, a lot of times the employers will look at their LinkedIn profile immediately. And that's a dead giveaway. If it's something that's really not current, it's going to show. And what's happening is that they're going to lose out on that job opportunity or even a professional connection because it's not looking professional.
Yeah, for sure. I've done it myself. I'll look someone up on LinkedIn, just to kind of get an idea, like what their experience is and things like that. I'll do it oftentimes if I have a cold meeting, I'll do that, right? Just again, where did they go to school? Get some background information on them, just so I can be more conversational as I meet them. So we've only got about a minute left or so here, but what's one common mistake that you see like small business owners making on LinkedIn that maybe just absolutely killing response rates or making them not casting them in the right light?
Simple. It's a word that I use frequently. People smile when I say it. It's called pitch slap. And
Okay.
that's what they do. All right. As soon as they try to connect with someone, they just go right into it. And that's why they wonder why they're not getting connections or they're getting removed or, and it's just funny how they keep consistently doing it. And I find that, hilarious at times, but it is a common mistake. That's what happens. And people understand it, why it doesn't work. Even in real life, it doesn't work. You go to a real life meeting, you're not going to pitch someone, usually give them a card, but they think that just being online is kind of protects them from doing that. And it's not, it just shows their weakness. So yeah, that would be a big no-no.
Well, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. I mean, that's one of the reasons, honestly, that I was kind of hot and heavy on LinkedIn, and then I got squashed by it after a while because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's all I get in my DMs are these people like that just connected with me and they want to, try to sell me with something, all this other crazy stuff. Guys, we're going to hit a break here. Talking again with Al Kushner this week. He's the founder of linkedvantage.com. We'll put that in the show notes. Come back after the break and we'll continue talking about LinkedIn optimization.
If you would like to reach hundreds of thousands of business owners every week, Mr. Biz Radio can help. Our show airs globally 7 days a week for more than 25 hours across several internet radio stations plus 20 plus podcast platforms. Also, video exposure on the new exclusive Mr. Biz Network streaming channel, which gets blasted to 100 plus streaming platforms and the Mr. Biz YouTube channel and our 350,000 social media followers multiple times every week. Join Mr. Biz Nation as an advertiser by emailing us at info@MrBizSolutions.com.
Attention, Mr. Biz Nation. We have an exclusive offer just for you. Get lifetime access to scarcity countdown timers and logic links for only $69. Yes, you heard it right. Only $69. These tools will add urgency to your email campaigns and website pages, helping you increase conversions, sales, and capture more leads. Don't miss this incredible opportunity. Visit GetPulseTools.com now and take your business to new heights.
Check out all 3 of Mr. Biz's best-selling books at MrBizBooks.com. Now, once again, here's Mr. Biz.
All right, welcome back to the show. Again, talking about LinkedIn. And if you're a small business owner, B2B and B2C. B2C is out there as well for LinkedIn. And as our guest Al mentioned last week, I think they're up, if they're not over it, they've got to be close to 1 billion users now that are using the site. And I remember, I just was thinking about this during the break. I mentioned before that we had someone on in the early, I'm a first year, maybe second year at the most of doing the show. So very early on. And back then, I remember doing research for that show. I'm a numbers guy, so I remember numbers. Can't remember names, but I remember numbers. And back then, LinkedIn had about, it was a little over 400 million users. And the fact that in the last, I don't know, call it, let's say 7 years, it's over doubled in size. I mean, just as nuts. And again, not going from 100 users to 200. I mean, 400 million to, 1 billion is absolutely crazy. And I want to go back to the thing you mentioned, the pitch lab, which obviously is very catchy, but it is so true. And I think, and again, maybe that's part of that is I feel like there's certain, I hate to say this, but there's certain industries that are more prone to do that. It's almost like going to a local network. I know you had mentioned like, well, you meet someone at a networking event, you don't just pitch them right away. I've found that sometimes that happens as well. As soon as you meet someone, you tell them one sentence about you and they're like, hey, well, do you know anyone that needs this? Or, and it's like, I barely got your name, and I feel like you're probably right though. When you have the protection, so to speak, of the internet, it's much easier to do that because I think a lot of people just say, well, I'm going to cast this huge wide net, and a lot of people will be turned off but who cares, right? I'm going to get a few out of, I send out, 200 of these, I'm going to get, 5 people to respond or something. And I think that's a tactic I think a lot of people are using. If you found that as well, or people even to start working with you, if they maybe tried that?
Oh yeah, the shotgun approach, and it's just really something that is really not only is low numbers, but it gets to a point where even LinkedIn start noticing, certain things, and it may even help to curtail their actions on LinkedIn by, making their account more restrictive in that sense. So that's something that it's about having certain etiquette, and that's really something that you want to try to learn to avoid if you want to make connections.
Yeah. Well, it's funny for me. So I changed I did this on purpose. Someone actually suggested I do it, but I also did it on purpose because I could see the automated responses right away. So instead of Ken Wentworth, I'm Mr. Biz, AKA Ken Wentworth.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get the automated responses, if someone is using automated, direct messaging, it'll say, hey, Mr. period, comma. And right away, like that's not a real message, right? It's completely automated. And honestly, when I see that, 98% of the time, I just skip right over the message because I know it's automated. It's not authentic. And again, I just get so tired of seeing that. One of the things I want to touch on though, Al, is I know you've got sort of an 80-20 profile framework talking about, your headline, the about, featured, some proof assets, things like that. What matters most in that sort of 80-20 framework in, having more conversions, having a more authentic view on LinkedIn?
Well, I think the most important thing is getting third-party endorsements, like recommendations. How many recommendations do you have on your profile, for example?
Honestly, I probably have, I would say close to 100.
Oh, okay. Well, that's very good. Most people don't even have nearly as much, so that's really a great thing to have. And I think by having that, it really, provides authenticity to one's profile. And in addition, you should also be part of groups on LinkedIn, whether or not you post or not. But if you're part of a group, sometimes you can connect with people who may not know you, but if you're part of their group, may decide to accept your connection because of that. So those are just right off the top a good sign of having part of your profile.
Yeah, actually, someone gave me the advice, Al, that to really beef the, to seek out some of those recommendations. And so I put a calendar invite for myself, a calendar reminder, I guess. I can't remember what day of the month it is, but to remind myself to go out and ask for request recommendations, as well as to give recommendations as well, to kind of pay it forward on some of those things. And yeah, I think that's the only reason I'm sure that's the only reason I've got as many as I do, is I made a concerted effort to, and I kept forgetting. So literally I put a calendar reminder like, hey, on the 15th of the month, go out and make a concerted effort for the next half hour, to interact with folks, to give some recommendations on people that may have been guests on the show or whatever it may have been, that I interacted with recently. Again, to, authenticity, and to pay it forward. And that whole rule of reciprocity, I think, is a real thing, especially when things like, testimonials, recommendations.
Yeah, which is great. And once we complete this program, you'll get a testimonial from me, so you won't have to wait a week or something. I believe in doing things, as it moves forward, because that makes life a lot easier that way. And that's the best time anyway, when to recommend somebody, is when they're most happy with your services. It makes it a lot easier. And also make it easy for them to do a recommendation. May not know what to say about you, but provide a suggested one. A lot of times they'll go with it and make it easier. So that could be a big help. Yeah,
for sure. I talked a little bit about some people, and you mentioned even the shotgun approach, which is a much better way of putting it than I did. But with LinkVantage, if you're doing any sort of, I want to say cold outreach, because you're probably at least connected with someone, maybe don't know them that well. How do you do that without making it sound canned? I mean, is there any like personalization templates that you kind of swear by, or you think are the sort of the right approach to use?
I guess it depends on, what you're trying to, to do. I mean, if you're someone who is looking for a job and working for an employer, sometimes you want to connect with someone who's a hiring person of the company, and you can do a search, usually looking through LinkedIn's premium versions like Sales Navigator, that you can access their titles, and then you can make a connection with them. And a lot of times you have an opportunity to create some words, I think up to 300 characters or something, to kind of say the reason why you want to connect with that person. Sometimes if they're a second connection, they may know such and such, which is great. Third connections can be more challenging because they may not know you. But if you're part of a group that they may be part of, they may help to accept your invitation to connect. So it just depends on what you're looking to do.
Mm-hmm. So I know with social media, and I know LinkedIn, it seems to me at least, and again, you'd be the expert on this, not me, but obviously they have an algorithm. I think it's not as, I'll call it, aggressive as algorithms on some of the other social media platforms. But what have you found, at least most recently, Al, that's sort of formats or some sort of hooks that are working with when you're posting weekly, daily, whatever it might be?
Well, in my situation, I send out newsletters at least once a week, and I have 3 different types of newsletters to 3 different, targets that I work with: accountants, for financial planners, for attorneys. And then I also post on groups 3 times a week, which has really been effective. I recently launched a new podcast, and I'm using that platform to create awareness for it by creating audiograms and posting it into the groups. And that's been getting a lot of good traction. So that really makes a difference in getting awareness.
Yeah, I was curious. So I was into some of those groups years and years ago, and I kind of got away from it. And it sounds like that's something I might want to dip my toe back in that water.
Yeah.
So guys, we're going to hit another break here. Again, talking with Al Kushner this week. He's the founder of LinkedVantage.com. We'll put that in the show notes as well. Obviously, you can follow him on LinkedIn. As he mentioned, he shares content on LinkedIn on a regular basis. And we're going to come back after the break. We're going to talk a little bit about Sales Navigator. I know Al brought it up earlier. It's sort of the premium version, or at least one of the premium versions that you can subscribe to on LinkedIn. Find out some of the advantages of that, some things we might be able to use that, and why it would be good for us.
How would you like to have direct access to Mr. Biz to help you run your business more profitably and more efficiently? At MrBizSolutions.com, you get live access to not only Mr. Biz, but also several of his hand-picked and trusted business experts, each with 20 plus years of experience to help you optimally manage and grow your business. That's just the start of where Mr. Biz Solutions begins. Learn more at MrBizSolutions.com. That's MrBizSolutions.com.
Attention, Mr. Biz Nation. We have an exclusive offer just for you. Get lifetime access to scarcity countdown timers and logic links for only $69. Yes, you heard it right. Only $69. These tools will add urgency to your email campaigns and website pages, helping you increase conversions, sales, and capture more leads. Don't miss this incredible opportunity. Visit GetPulseTools.com now and take your business to new heights.
Got a question for Mr. Biz you want answered on air? Email it to info@MrBizSolutions.com. Now, once again, here's Mr. Biz.
All right, welcome back to the show. Again, talking with Al Kushner this week. He is the founder of linkedvantage.com. So I want to dive into this. I know you brought it up a little bit ago earlier in the show, Sales Navigator. What are some of the advantages of that? Do you think that's a good fit for everyone? Do you need to be at a certain level or using the platform at a certain level to really take advantage of some of the extra perks and things you have access to with Sales Navigator?
Yeah, I think those who are using it usually are business owners, entrepreneurs who are looking to make connections with potential clients. And one of the features I like about LinkedIn, called Sales Navigator, is that it allows you to know who's active on LinkedIn, who's actually have posted in the past 30 days, which is great, or someone who's gotten a promotion recently. So I use that to my advantage in connecting with someone, because it allows you, because you only have a certain amount of connections to send out invitations, I believe. Sales Navigator, I believe up to 100 invitations a week is, or 150 depending on the tier that they're in. But it gives you the ability to not waste those valuable, connections or in-mails, you might say. So you want to be able to use that, find out who's active on LinkedIn, who's got a recent promotion, and also find out based on their job description. If there's someone, let's say, looking to hire someone, or let's say someone's looking for a training program, I would reach out to someone who is responsible for hiring for trainers, as an example. In your situation, maybe you're looking for guests for your program, and you want to connect with perhaps authors or or other speakers, and you can narrow that search. And if they're active on LinkedIn, that gives you a greater chance of connecting with someone who could, respond to your connection and accept it. So yeah, it's really powerful.
Yeah. So I mentioned algorithms earlier. Obviously, it's not something we can get away from, right? Social media, they have them. I think they created with good intentions. Sometimes I think on not necessarily LinkedIn, but I think some other social media platforms, they become a bit of an echo chamber, where there's more political stuff and all that junk shared. Again, not necessarily on LinkedIn. But as algorithms change, obviously, I would say that, and for the most part, principles don't. What are some of the principles for B2B, like social selling, that you've seen that have stayed at least relatively constant over the last few years?
Well, I think the algorithm loves videos. So if you have an opportunity to post a video, ideally a sweet spot is anywhere from 30 seconds to 90 seconds. I find, that gets a lot of great traction over, let's say, text type posting. And the videos should be educational by nature. And I find that the algorithm really likes it a lot and promotes it extensively, because it's something that not a lot of people are using. And I think they took advantage of other platforms that are using videos like TikTok or Instagram, and wanted to incorporate into, LinkedIn itself to become that, because they want more people to stay on the platform. So that's why I've seen that the algorithm seems to like quite a lot.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, Al. So I think LinkedIn tried a couple of years ago, and again, maybe my timing is off, it may have been 5 years ago, but didn't they try to have, to your point of borrowing from other social media platforms, stories? And I thought they tried it, and they experimented with it, whatever, and now they don't have it anymore. And obviously, it must not have gone as well as they thought. Am I imagining that?
Well, no, I mean, it probably was. I mean, there's so many changes that have come up, and that's been a while. But it doesn't surprise me. It's just all about, what people are expecting. Sometimes, for example, when people post, a lot of times they treat it like Facebook in a way, and they're self-serving for the most part. So they're trying to discourage that. LinkedIn wants to make it more business-like, and I think that the stories were kind of not lending to that aspect of it. So maybe that's why they got rid of it. But as with anything, they're always testing new types of ways to do connections and how to get more people on the platform to stay on the platform. So they really encourage like videos that are certainly the algorithm likes a lot.
Mm-hmm. So I'll ask a question that'll be, you just mentioned self-serving. This is a little bit self-serving. So I have a question about my own LinkedIn profile. So not anything super specific, but you mentioned videos. We share videos every week, and they're videos. They're short clips. They're always actually less than 60 seconds. So usually, I don't know, 30 to 60 seconds.
Mhm.
And again, they're just, clips from the show, little snippets from the show, and we share. I think we do like 2 a day, like Friday through Wednesday. And I've got, I don't know, last time I checked, I think I'm connected with 11,000 or so people on LinkedIn,
Right.
and I get very little engagement. Now, I feel like the answer, and you tell me, I think the answer is probably I don't engage enough. And maybe that's part of it as well. As I get on LinkedIn at least once a day, but I'm using it more for informational things. And so I find that I don't really interact as much and engage with other people's content. And if someone has an anniversary, right, I'll send them a message or something like that. But is that what could be holding back, like some of my engagement of not getting maybe the level of engagement you would expect with that many folks you're connected with?
Well, the fact is that, as you know, LinkedIn has an advertising aspect of their platform. And if you want to do that kind of reach, they encourage obviously to, pay for the ads that you want. So that may be an example how you can create, better traction that way. In addition to that, a lot of times when you're doing these posts into your own, they not necessarily reach all 11,000 followers,
Sure.
which
Yeah.
is the most part. However, if you're part of groups and you do post into groups, you may get more higher traction that way, which is a good example. And also it depends on how you are using the video. Are you creating a link to outside of LinkedIn, or are you uploading directly to LinkedIn? That could also make a difference. I upload directly, and that has gotten me a lot more, algorithm love, you might say, doing it that way. So that could be one of the reasons why you're not getting that traction.
That's a great point. That's probably it right there, because typically we'll share the clip. There'll be a short title line that's, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 words, 10 words, that's sort of explaining what the clip is. And then usually after that, we'll say, watch or listen more here, and we'll have a link to the show, which is obviously off the
Yeah.
LinkedIn platform. So I didn't
Right.
even think about it. That's a great point. So they're probably like, hey, we don't want to promote this because we want to keep people on our platform. We don't want you sending them somewhere else. Yeah,
Mhm.
we'll have to try that, because and I've heard too on things like that is people will share external links in the first comment. I know that's what they used to do. Is that something that LinkedIn's like, haha, we know what you're doing here, and they can you can also get kind of throttled a little bit for that as well?
Yeah, they discourage that. They want you to have everything on there. In my example, when I do my podcast episode, I'll create an audiogram, and
Mhm.
I'll upload it directly to LinkedIn so people can sample the first 60 seconds of it. And then, but I don't encourage any outside links. I just talk about it, and they can search on, the platforms they listen to podcasts, and find it directly. But that seems to be what LinkedIn seems to like a lot in terms of getting LinkedIn love, you might say, from uploading directly. So that makes a difference.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'll definitely have to try that, because I have been a little bit discouraged, because we share a lot. I mean, not just for the show. Actually, for the last few months, it's been primarily we've been posting on LinkedIn about with show clips and things like that. But it's been a little bit discouraging. It's like, man, is this even worth it? Because I'm not really getting that traction. But real quick here, we don't have much time, but let's say someone's watching the show, listening right now, and says, okay, I'm going to give LinkedIn a shot. I tried it before, or I didn't try it before. I'm going to try it now. What's sort of the highest leverage checklist you could think of that someone can say, I'm going to give it an hour a week? What are some of the things that they should be make sure they're hitting?
Well, I offer a checklist that they can get for
Okay.
free. It's at linkvantage.com/audit. And you go there and you'll get all my top ideas on how to optimize your profile and how to do correct outreach. And I don't need your email address either. Just go right to the link and you'll get it directly. And I think that'll be a big help. I also have a book, The AI LinkedIn Advantage, which they can
Okay.
also get and be able to have access to, available on Spotify as audiobook or as a regular book direct. So yeah, I have a lot of good resources you can turn to help you leverage LinkedIn.
Awesome. Very, very helpful. Well, we're out of time here, but I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a fantastic rest of your week. And don't forget, as always, cash flow is king.
To become part of Mr. Biz Nation, follow him on all social media platforms or never miss a show by going to MrBizRadio.com. If you prefer free video content, visit the Mr. Biz YouTube channel or check out his streaming channel, which is available on 100 plus streaming platforms at MrBizNetwork.com.